All right. Okay. All right. We are back, and as you can see, it's a little bit wet. Got some rain here in Silverstone. And as the drivers get ready ahead of the session, I'm just gonna sit here, wait for a sec. I do believe it's going to be full wet weather, so it should be a tricky start to the race. No indication on whether or not this weather is going to improve, but it is wet right now, and that's all we really need to know. Drivers will be struggling in the early laps. They will have trouble, more than likely, to get their tires up to temperature, especially on the formation lap, and that should affect the run down to turn 1. Expect at least a spin or two there on the first lap. Even if it's not because of contact, even if it's just guys that having a hard time getting to grips with the temperature. And it is full wet, and I believe it is full wets for everybody, I would think. Yes, nobody chancing it on the inters, and for good reason. Look at the puddles there, look at the standing water, and we actually managed to get two guys in. Aizen Bexter managing to join us after quali. They're going to start at the back of the grid with Sprunky. So nice 14-player lobby. Of course, the race starting an hour earlier than usual this week because of the Brazilian Grand Prix being at noon, which is in approximately an hour and a half. So we're going to have to get these lobbies out of the way, get this racing done. We're going to get to go enjoy the Brazilian Grand Prix, and then we are going to be back with Division 2 and Division 1. Let's get our track map up. Let's get our important stuff up. And let's get to it. Hello, Monica. Thank you for watching. Pleasure to have you here. Drivers now on the formation lap, crucial for getting your tires up to temperature. But you don't want to wear them too much though. So on wet tires, it's not much of an issue. But it is possible when you're on the softs to overwork your tires on the formation lap. You're actually left with a disadvantage in the race because yes, they are up to temperature a bit better. They are warmer when you start, but you've put in more wear. You've used them a little bit more. So it might affect you in the long run. It is there minimally when you're on the wets. These tires do last a little bit longer when you're in the proper weather conditions for it, but still something to keep an eye on. I think CJ Butch has had a spin at some point because he's quite far back from the queue, even though he's starting P5. But the drivers are getting lined up here. The leaders are on their starting grid positions. And the lights, well, they're about to start coming on. We are ready to go here in Silverstone. And we are ready to have a race. It's 3, 4, 5 lights on. Oh, and it's a long one, but they're off, and it looks like a decent start from most. A lot of wheel spin we can see. Lorenzo with a great start. He's going to be leading into turn 1, pushing that Ferrari just a little bit wide, then defending. Emilio's going to have to go off track there. He's going to have to be careful when he rejoins, as CJ Butch is able to get ahead of him as well. There's some fighting in the back. A lot of cars all over the place. I believe that's Richie who's had enough in the first turn. We saw both Ferraris going wide in the runoff. It looks like one of them wasn't as lucky. Boris now making a move on Melios. Melios has got wing damage. He's got wing. When did he pick up that wing damage? That might have been into turn 1 with Lorenzo, and he's going to be struggling. That's an early pit stop for Melios for sure, because he's having trouble keeping that car on track. Vex of Extra now going around him. And so it's Lorenzo, Bumblebee from CJ Busch. Their top 3. Always Rick is all over the rear of that Alfa Romeo. Will he try a move here in any of the following corners? Doesn't look like. I don't think he's quite close enough. Boris is right behind his teammate. The 2 Haas off to a great start so far. The McLaren and Baca right behind them. It looks like our pit strategy. There will be some pit stops here, regardless of the weather changing or not. There's going to be at least 1, maybe 2, depending on how quickly those wet tires wear off. Soon though, your leaders will be a little bit out of touch. Bumblebee and Lorenzo off to the races already. You can see Always Rick thinking about a move, not going for it. CJ Busch defending well, keeping that 3rd position. The Haas of Boris, though, right behind his teammate. He's going to have to defend from Bacher soon enough. Right in the back, though, I think that's Sprunky going for a move on his teammate. The 2 Aston Martins are side by side through the final 2 corners. Oh, Sprunky almost losing it. Oh, and he catches it. Hits his teammate again. And I don't know how Sprunky didn't lose it there. I don't know how he didn't spin out. Sorry, that was Synchros. Synchros was the one who was having a hard time there. It's easy to confuse the 2 cars when they're side by side, but Synchros doing a great job at catching that. I'm sure there won't be much love between these 2 teammates this race if that keeps up. Vex of Exter and Emilios both in the pits there. They're going to be taking the fresh new front wing. And actually, it's going to be both Alpines, as Aizen has to pit as well. He's got wing damage. An unfortunate double stack there for Aizen. I'm sure he's going to be hoping for a safety car. Sorry. CJ Butch now getting a little closer to Bumblebee, but not close enough. 1.7 seconds. Actually, I think that gap is still increasing. Always Rick, though, right behind, and Bacher, who's gotten past Boris in the last couple of corners. It is now a Haas 4 and 6 with a McLaren sandwiched in the middle. They're all hunting down CJ Busch, though, who's struggling to keep pace here in the wet on Silverstone. I think he's running a little less downforce than the guys behind him, because he's keeping them behind in the straights, but then letting them catch up in the corners. Will that keep holding up, though? We don't know. We're going to have to see some ERS being used, and it's not going to be used now, because despite him catching, actually, Always Rick has had a poor exit there. He's fallen back just a little bit by 10th or so. That's allowed Bacher to catch up with him. Now the two Dutchmen might be in for a lovely little scrap here sooner than we think. Emilio's now taking a 3-second time penalty, down 10 spots. Our provisional pole position, or pole position man. I don't know why I said provisional there. Of course, he won it. He did start P1. Oh, bit of contact between the Haas and the Alfa Romeo as always Rick was looking for a move around the outside. Decided that wasn't going to work. Went for the switchback and had to check up just a little bit. Always Rick, though, now thinking about it down the inside. It's not going to work. And he's going to have to be careful, though. If he goes for a move and it backfires, Bakker's right behind him, and he can easily go for just a little sneaky lunge. So he's going to be absolutely flawless in his attack on CJ Butch, and he's going to have to be extremely careful about when he picks his moments. Hasn't picked it yet, as much like the lap before and much like at the end of this lap, looks like it's all going to even out here with no changes, no drastic changes in the positions between this battle. Great battle for third, though, absolutely, that's for sure. And hopefully these guys can keep it up. Bumblebee's been closing in on Lorenzo. We'll take an eye out, keep an eye out for that battle sooner enough. Sprunky is catching up to Crago as well, but this battle for third is the one we want as these guys take turns 1 and 2. There it is. Always Rick. Lot of steam there on the brakes and almost getting the move. He's going to go around the outside now. Can he make that stick? Look at the McLaren thinking about it down the inside. CJ Bush getting attacked from all directions. Always Rick taking a penalty there for going wide. But CJ Bush is going to fight back down the inside. They're still side by side. And neither of them giving an inch. I thought they were going to touch their wheel to wheel. And neither are giving up. The McLaren of Bakker now is going to have a go as they approach turn 8. Or they go through turn 8 now. And through turn 9 up ahead. It's still always Rick from CJ Butch from Bakker. Has not changed there. The McLaren not able to get by the Haas. And the Alfa Romeo, sorry. The Haas now. If you have the open road ahead, he needs to get out of here. While Bakker is still stuck behind the Alfa Romeo. CJ Butch very good at defending, but what a battle that was. What an overtake. I thought for sure always Rick had messed it up. He sent it down the inside of turn 3, and it was an ambitious move. It almost didn't work, and then he got him around the outside of turn 4. And while that was explaining that, it looks like the McLaren of Bakker getting by on the straightaway. And now CJ Butch he continues his fall backwards. This Boris is all over the rear wing of that Alfa Romeo. Is it maybe that CJ Butch is running a bit more of a dry setup? Remember, qualifying was dry. We rebooted the lobby. This is the weather that was predicted to happen during the race. And it looks like maybe some of these drivers not anticipating it or correcting for it. What's happening at the front? I see some switching. Lorenzo and Bumblebee swapped positions very briefly, but it looks like Lorenzo able to keep that one. Oh, always Rick has had a spin. And just when I switch off of one battle to see what's happening in the other, always Rick has had a spin, and he's going to lose all of those positions. Bakker now inherits P3, and CJ Butch is back into P4. Oh no! What's happening here? It looks like Bakker has had a spin. Yes, he's hit that inside wall. This is bringing out the safety car, which is great for the guys at the back who had those early incidents. Not so great for Bakker. So the two Dutchmen, they were stuck behind CJ Butch for a number of laps, and they finally get past them. And it seems like CJ Butch cursed them. As soon as they got past them, around they went, and an unfortunate spin for both of them. Luckily for Always Rick, he recovered. I don't think he's got damage, but Bakker not so lucky there with a spin in the inside wall, and that's going to be his race over. Well, safety car means some guys are going to be taking advantage of it, putting on some fresh inters, maybe doing some wing adjustments as well. Synchros and Boris both going for it. They will lose a couple positions, but I feel like the reasoning might be that these guys are going to have to pit at the end of this, but between now and the end of this race anyways, according to the pit strategy at the least. If they pit now, they might save themselves a pit later. It's a smart move. It is a bit of a gamble. Those tires could die off in the last couple of laps of this race, but nevertheless, it is an interesting call for sure. As we go on board with Svexta Vexter here in the Williams, you can see this track is not dried up, so I think it's going to be this wet the entire way through. Okay. Sorry about the brief interruption there. Just, how do you say, hydrating myself with a little bit of coffee and then a little bit of water. Early in the morning here in Canada. Well, early enough. No, it's 11 at this point. I can't say that. Yeah, whatever. Caffeine is not kicked in fully yet, so gotta make sure I get a little pick-me-up. And we're under safety car here, lap 7 out of 26. Safety car should be coming in on either lap 8 or lap 9, depending on how quickly these guys queue up. That will give us a little bit under 20 laps of hard racing. And these laps do go by quickly once you get into this race. So it's going to be interesting. These guys need to stay flawless, so to speak, here in the rest of this race. I don't think there's going to be another safety car unless we have another crash. But around Silverstone, they are a little bit rare. All right, looks like it is going to be safety car in this lap. On the start of lap 8, there will be, I believe, 18 laps to go, including lap 8. That'd make it 19. So not quite a sprint to the finish, but certainly not a full race distance either. Everybody warming up those tires, and you can see just how close the grid gets. And when is Lorenzo going to go on board with the Red Bull? Is he going to bring them to the line? I think he is. Whoa. And as he goes, gets a bit of wheel spin there, and so does Bumblebee. So both leaders actually catching themselves out with the acceleration. And Lorenzo's lucky Bumblebee didn't pounce on that. For them in the back, though, oh no, that's the Emilio's, the Ferrari, with another incident on a restart. He's not having a good time today. Synchros has retired from the session. Meanwhile, there's a lot of shaking up of the grid. Further down the pack, the two Haas's have swapped positions, and Doomsray, Vexer, and Azen getting by some of the other guys as the Ferrari of Emilio's gets back on track. Not sure what happened there. Looks like maybe some wheel-to-wheel contact. Not too much shuffling other than that. Bumblebee, with that bad restart of his, has fallen about a second back of Lorenzo. He's going to have to put in some hard work to get back up there, but he's done it before, so I'm not too worried for the Mercedes. CJ Butch has somehow found himself back up into third after defending that position quite well over the past couple laps. Crago 82 and Sprunky now trying to catch up, and it looks like Sprunky is the one making up the most ground here. Boris right behind them. Vexer 7th and Doomsray 8th. The race has got himself into the top 10 as he gets by Azen. And Sprunky all over the rear of Crago, but so is Boris. And through turn 1 is tricky there in the west, especially with all that dirty air. But Sprunky managing quite well, not going for a move here, but getting so close to that rear wing. Oh, maybe chancing it around the outside. No, he thought about it. Bit of wheel spin for both cars on the acceleration. You saw a little bit of a wiggle from the Red Bull. Is this going to open the door for Boris or not? Don't think so. I think he's a little too far back again on the rear wing of Sprunky now, as he is both trying to attack and defend here. Always a bit of an interesting position to be in. You really got to manage your ERS well when you're in that situation. And now it seems like Always Rick has had an issue. Not quite sure what happened with Always Rick there. Okay, that was a little bit weird. It was spun out turn 1, but I thought he was in the pit, so I don't know how he got behind the pit entrance. And there we go. We saw Sprunky racing away from Boris F1. We saw Sprunky catching up to Crago. And then now Sprunky ahead of Crago. It's not over. I thought it wasn't. Crago definitely thought about going back and sending it on that corner. But not going to be able to do it that time around. As Sprunky just outbreaks him by a little bit and keeps the position. Good move from Sprunky. Starting at the back, got himself up to P4. That safety car certainly helped him catch up to the leaders. But now there is a gap that has formed again, and he's going to have to get back at it. Bumblebee is now rearing up the old jet turbines and getting closer again to Lorenzo. Just 0.6 separating the two drivers at the front. Boris Now going for it on Krago, not going to work that time. You saw him just hoping that sneaky inside line might work for him. But too good on the acceleration is that Red Bull, it appears at the moment. Boris taking a penalty there. That will help him later in this race, but so does Krago, so it shouldn't be too bad. What these guys battling is doing, though, it's letting a lot of the guys ahead lead. Get away from the pack, and there's a lot of guys queued up behind them, which means if something happens, Vex of Extra could easily find himself in P5. These two tangle, if they touch wheels, if they go off track. You can see how close the Williams and the Alpine of Doomsray are right now. So close, in fact, that Vex of Extra actually thought about sneaking his front wing on the inside there. And now it's going to be Boris's turn to have a little sneaky front wing. Does he get better acceleration? I think he does. Looks to the outside, but he's got to get tucked into the slipstream. No, Boris. That might have been intentional there, because certainly not it's a tricky corner to do side by side in the dries, let alone the wets. Boris tucking out of the slipstream and not trying to make a move on Krago there. Despite the better exit, Krago takes the penalty for corner cutting. Let's take a look at the penalties now. It is 3 seconds for CJ Butch, 6 seconds for Krago, 3 down the grid all the way to Milio's, 11 for Always Rick. Richie does not have any penalties should there be another safety car, or even without a safety car. He's in a very good position to get some free spots at the line. Krago and Boris, this battle does not relent. These two are still going at it, and as we start lap 13, the halfway point of this race is still anybody's game. Bumblebee is close to Lorenzo. CJ Butch does have a bit of a gap to them, but he has Sprunky for company right behind him, so none of the podium positions really are safe at the time. All throughout the grid, it's quite close. A bit of a moment there for Boris on the exit. I think Krago, though, had a bigger moment himself, and now Boris is going to be right behind him down the straight. Is he going to send it? No, he's not. Not even trying to go around the outside there. Oh, but this might give him the opportunity as Krago. Oh, no. Krago had a moment there, went deep, and Boris cut that corner just a little bit too much. He had to scrub off all that speed. And that's the car not pointing the right way. And who might that be? I think that might be Azen. I think it is Azen there, not facing the right way, unfortunately. And that's going to be quite a loss for him. He was doing a great job keeping up with that pack. Boris now closer than ever. I feel like I've said that a couple times already. And still Boris not going for a move. Oh, but almost clipping that rear tire from of Krago there. That is going to ensure, essentially, that he can't make a move into this corner. Oh, there you go. That's a beautiful moment to pick for Boris. But again, he shoots himself in the foot by going over the curbs. Boris, you could have had this move done about 6 times by now. And every time I see him, he just takes too much curve. He tries to cut the corner too much. And it slows him down. It compromises his line. And in the end, it gives Craigo the chance to keep the position. And in doing so, he's actually been taking penalties as well. So Boris just not helping his own case now as he attempts to... What is he doing? That was certainly weird. What is happening with Boris right now? It looked like he just veered off on his own. I don't know if he got wheel spin from that. But that's going to be the end of Boris. Boris's attack on Craigo. At least Craigo can rest easy for a little bit. Let's take a look there at our leaders, who are still very close to each other. I'm going to take a look at the comments quickly. Bacher in our comments saying, Rick collecting penalties like they are post stamps, up to 11 seconds as Aizen retires from this race. And it's going to be another safety car. And I'm not quite sure what happened to Aizen. I see it's it was on the back straight, so I'm thinking that surely he's lost the car under acceleration, maybe on the curb there on the exit of Maggots and Beckett's. Always Rick now getting a drive-through to go along with his penalties. And as the safety car comes out, I'm going to take a quick break just to refill my water and get myself cooled off. Guys, I'll be right back. Enjoy this 1 minute intermission as I run to the kitchen and fill up my cup. Alrighty, I appreciate your patience. Safety car, lap 15 out of 26. I just had a peek over at the Div 4 race, and guess what? They're experiencing a bit of rain too, as it seems to be very wet all around here in Britain this weekend. All right. So, do believe the safety car is going to be coming in on lap 16, which should give these guys a 10-ish lap sprint, I guess you could call it, to the finish. Certainly not going to be a quick sprint. It's going to take about the same amount of time that we've had since our last race, or our last safety car. Sorry about that. Right. Okay. Right on. So I see a comment here. What happened with Doomsray? I'm not sure what happened to Doomsray. But he has had to spin here under safety car, it seems. And just judging from... yeah, I don't think he's got a front wing. So, tricky conditions even when you're at a crawl here in Silverstone. I think, unfortunately for Doomsray, that safety car is going to come in before he gets to pit. He might get lucky here. If I were Doomsray, I'd be backing off right now. Just stop, back up, make sure, and yeah, too late. He's too close. The safety car is going to be in this lap. And I mean, Doomsray is going to have to pit. Change that front wing. You're going to be coming out significantly behind everybody else here. But we are getting ready for the restart. We are going for it here. And should be quite the exciting race. We start lap 17. Here we go. Lorenzo off to the races. CJ Bush, P2. Always Rick pulling off to the side there, letting everybody else by. But Craigo is forcing his way down the inside. Vex Vexer and Sprunky battling right behind. Vex Vexer actually sending it on Craigo, and he takes P3. But it's not over yet. Can Craigo attack back in the next corner? No, he can't. Vex Vexer with a beautiful, beautiful move there on the restart to take a podium position. Around the back, on the outside, I see that's a Mercedes of Bumblebee. He was P2. He is now P9. What has happened to the Mercedes as he gets forced around the outside and has to take to the runoff just to stay alive here? Richie up to P7. Remember, those penalties could be crucial for Richie. Sprunky, P5. Again, no penalties. He see himself gain quite a few positions. And as they go back to the races side by side, that believe trying to go side by side with Sprunky and Melios, but Melios is too far back. The leader is already running off a little bit. CJ Butch, who continues to hold on to one of these podium positions despite the adversity, is looking set for a good result here if he can just keep it together for a couple more laps. Always Rick with another penalty to add to his collection as he goes off track through Magus and Cops. Lap down is Always Rick. That doesn't seem to stop him from trying his best. Well, at cutting the track. Sprunky Craigo swapping positions as the Aston Martin gets by down the straightaway. But I believe that's a Red Bull trying to get by down the next corner. They touch wheels, but Sprunky going to have to take the tighter line. Will this open the door for Melios? It does. You can see the Ferrari side by side with the Aston Martin here as they go through the start-finish line. And it's going to be the Aston Martin ahead, just barely. The Ferrari Melios holding back, keeping patient. He'll have another turn. Oh no! What has happened here? I was talking about getting another turn. I think that's Craigo with a big moment for Sprunky to check up. Sprunky, I think, made a bit of contact with the rear wing there of Craigo, and I don't think think there's damage, but that has let Melios get 2 free positions. And right like I said, he'll have another chance. That opportunity shows up, and Melios taking P4 there. Don't think it's going to be over yet. I don't think Sprunky is going to let that one slide as he makes a move on Craigo. Beautiful battle between the two yet again as Craigo tries to attack back down the inside. Sprunky's going to have a bit more speed. Oh, but he takes his first penalty, and that's going to be crucial now. That means Richie, who's right behind these guys, is going to leapfrog them at the line. So now Sprunky needs to put some space between himself and the cars ahead. Let's take a look at the penalties once again. 6 seconds from Vexter and Melios. Sprunky might get those positions. 3 seconds from CJ Butch. 6 seconds for Craigo, and Richie right in the middle there with no seconds to worry about. Always Rick has a drive-through. He's going to have to serve it this lap or the next, or else he might get disqualified. But don't think that's going to affect his result too much as the only car who's a lap down. Sprunky on that 3 second, he needs to be careful and not go off. But you can see how much that battle with Craigo has affected his race. As Craigo, I think we just saw him barely miss the rear tire of Sprunky there as he misjudged his braking zone, got all out of shape. And speaking of getting out of shape, did you see that drift right from the Aston Martin coming around that corner? Great control there from Sprunky. Always Rick disqualified for ignoring the drive-through as predicted. And it's going to be the end of his session. Ricky takes his first penalty, and just like that, we get a safety car. Why? I don't know. How Synchros is below Always Rick, I also don't know. I thought Synchros DNF'd. He might have DSQ'd. Got another safety car here, and these guys are going to be able to calm down just a little bit. 10 cars left in the session. And the third safety car of the session, third safety car of the race, and Lorenzo is now the only driver who has not taken a penalty. This is certainly interesting, to say the least. All right. I'm not sure what's happened to Craigo here. Sorry, I was trying to take a look at the comments and find some info about the drivers in the drivers chat. So I didn't have my eyes on the screen there, and Craigo's taken an extra penalty. I think he might have spun out and then had to cut the corner. Certainly weird, isn't it? I can tell that, okay, so Synchros did get stuck at the pit exit. So I guess, yeah, he did get disqualified. Super unfortunate for Synchros. Aizen has touched the grass before the hanger straight, and that resulted in his DNF. Calm Koala, I'm still used to calling him Mushroom, says apparently Bumblebee and Craigo have crashed under safety car. Would explain the 5 seconds. All right. Well, yeah. Sorry for missing that one, guys. It's a little hard to try to find some information and also keep an eye out for the race when you're alone in the commentary booth. But nevertheless, we move on there. I think it was caught on stream. I just wasn't looking at the stream. Lap 21 out of 26. This means safety car will restart. Lap 22 out of 26. We'll get a short sprint here. Another safety car on this race. And another time that this race has been grinded to a halt. These guys just having a hard time in the rain, I think. Just waiting for that safety car in this lap message here. And there it is. Safety car will be in this lap. And hopefully for the last time, we're going to get a restart. You guys ready for this? It's going to be a exciting one, I think. CJ Busch giving Lorenzo way too much real estate here on the start. Lorenzo's got a 1.2 second lead before we even restart this race. CJ Busch absolutely sleeping on the job there. And 1.5 seconds. Is he trying to give Lorenzo the free win? I don't know, but absolutely butchering that safety car restart. And that means Vexa Vexter and Melios, who's managed to claw back despite the spins, despite the damage. Impressive drive there from the Ferrari. And he's in P4 currently. Vexa Vexter, you saw him thinking about that move, not going to go for it. Further down the grid, though, Bumblebee and Richie going at it. Seems like a good battle. And Richie around the outside. Can he stick it with the quicker acceleration? No, Bumblebee is going to get that one done. And just better off the acceleration, able to slot in ahead of the Ferrari and position gain there for the Mercedes. Richie with that 3 seconds, not looking as likely as he's going to pass a lot of guys, but he can still get a couple of positions from this. Same with Sprunky, because the two ahead of them have 6 seconds in penalties. And so if they're able to get that done, get that out of the way, I don't even know what I'm saying right now. If they're able to stay close, that's what I was trying to say. Wow, okay. They'll get at least 2 positions. That's not going to have to get them past CJ Busch, though, which it might have before they took those penalties. Although Silverstone in the wet, it is always a tricky circuit. Oh, Vex Vexter takes another one. That's going to send him down the order. So P3 for Vex Vexter on track. It's looking more like P8 or P9 after penalties here, as he's going to go for it on CJ Butch. I mean, if you got that amount of penalties, you might as well. That's going to give Melios a chance to get by, but neither of them able to make that move stick. Vex Vexter still behind CJ Butch. Melios still behind the pair. And now as they go, getting forced a little bit to the inside is Vex Vexter, and that gives them less than optimal line on CJ Bush. They make contact. CJ Bush with a half spin, and Vex Vexter gets back on track. That'll let Melios get by the both of them. It's hard to say who's at fault there. Just kidding. It's Vex Vexter outbreaking himself and making a bit of contact with CJ Butch. Caught that on stream, so if either driver's watching, yeah, you guys got your POV right there. Sprunky now should be able to make a move here for on Vex Vexter. If he can get past the Williams, he can close up about a second on Melios. He could be looking at P2, which would be huge for his championship. Lorenzo, though, in first, and there you go. Sprunky getting by quite easily on the Williams. There is a yellow flag, and I'm not sure for what. I don't see any cars spinning out. So I am quite confused on that one. Craigo with another penalty. Vex Vexter spins it. Too much power on the acceleration there, and we're seeing some fastest laps here as Melios and Lorenzo both get one. Melios gets it second. He's going to keep it. Vex Vexter just trying to Tokyo drift around the final bend. And it looks like a good battle in the back there. You see Richie and Doomsray side by side. Well, let's take a look here on board with the rear wing of CJ Butch. And still side by side, the two, Richie and Doomsray. A bit better on the acceleration as Richie, he's going to take that position. And as we switch to the rear wing of the Ferrari, we can see sorry, not CJ Butch, but Boris and Doomsray now having a good old scrap as Boris tries to go around the outside. But Doomsray with the extra grip, the shorter line is going to slot in right ahead. Stay close to Richie that way. It looks like a great battle here for P4. You can see CJ Bush right ahead. If they can just catch up. Currently, it's just a battle for P5, but I'm sure that is going to change if Richie can just close up that gap to CJ Bush. CJ Bush has been a little bit slower than these guys all night, but he's been a lot better at defending, and that's why he's still at the front of the pack here. Well, towards the front of the pack, I should say. The guy at the front of the pack is Lorenzo, and he's got a 2.7 second lead on second place. Sprunky, I believe, let's see, Emilio's second. Something has happened to Sprunky's pace here. He's not catching up as he should. Maybe damage on the Aston Martin, I'm not sure. But he's falling quite far back there, so maybe those tires are falling off as well. Maybe he's made a mistake, but that gap is increasing between Sprunky and CJ, or sorry, in the Ferrari of Emilio. CJ Bush was a man I was on board with right there. Ferrari of Richie, we can see the rear wing once again as we tune in on board with this battle towards the back. Doomsday doing a good job holding Boris behind. He's not going to have to worry about that too much thanks to penalties. Even if Boris does pass them, he should maintain that position. But Bumblebee right behind them will nip them both with only 3 seconds if nothing else changes. Lap 25 out of 26. We are approaching the final lap of this Silverstone Grand Prix. And will we see any more bold moves, any other overtakes? Lorenzo and Melios are just absolutely gunning it away from the field. Sprunky 6.1 seconds back of second place now, and the rest of the pack significantly further back than that. Melios, is he going to try to catch up to Lorenzo? It won't matter with penalties, but maybe just to prove a point, he's going to go for it. He's certainly catching up at a rate of knots here. He's only going to have one more lap to do it. And we start the final lap here. Emilio's within a second. He's closed up that gap incredibly quickly. Half a second in that second half of the lap alone. It was over 2 seconds when he started lap 25. And I think he's still going to have another great opportunity for a move yet as Lorenzo just tries to hang on for the win here. No penalties, so regardless of what happens, as long as Lorenzo finishes near Emilio's, he's going to take the win. So it might be a smart bet for Lorenzo to just wait, let him by, and just cross the line behind him. But, you know, pride and crossing the line first and winning the race on track, it does mean so much to some of these drivers that I would not be surprised to see Lorenzo fight it. But again, you can see the difference in grip between Emilio's and Lorenzo. And if we take a look at the tires here, Lorenzo's done the entire race on these tires, as has Sprunky, as has CJ Butch. So you can tell, yeah, it didn't even need a pit stop, and that does explain why Emilio's is catching up to them so quick. Doomsday retiring from the session here. Oh no! And Craigo is out as well, and I believe Richie was involved in that accident. On top of that was a big crash. And as Richie, more issues there. Craigo is out as well. Couple of cars then retiring on the final lap of the race. What has happened there between Craigo, Doomsday, and Richie? That battle that we saw boiling for a couple of laps. I think maybe somebody with some wheel spin coming out of that corner just collecting the other ones, maybe? Who knows? But as that happens in the background, at the front, it's going to be Lorenzo crossing the line first and winning the British Grand Prix, extending his championship lead as his rival Sprunky is going to cross the line in third. Unfortunate end of the race for a couple of these drivers, especially Craigo and Doomsday on the last lap of this event. But CJ Push, fourth. Bumblebee fifth, and that's your top five. Boris is sixth. Richie's going to hang on for seventh there, despite the incident. That's very unfortunate for him at the end. He was running very well, looking set to take a couple of positions at the end of this race, and it's going to be Vexter in P8. Now, if I take a look at the clock, it's 11:28. That means we have half an hour until the Brazilian Grand Prix. I hope everybody watching goes and enjoys that. And, well, we'll see you after it, won't we? We've got Division 2 action after the race. We've got Division 1 action right after Division 2. So Division 2 starting potentially half an hour late. Division 1 should start on time. We're just a couple minutes late. And, yeah, we should have a nice, fun weekend here. All right, we're going to take you down the order there. Just a second here. We're taking a look just at the podium celebration first. Of course, what a race for Lorenzo, leading just about every single lap. Was it ever in doubt? Maybe just at the end there, as the Emilio's on the faster tires, very much catching up to Lorenzo. He hung on, didn't he? He did hang on quite well. And so that's it then for Division 3, Round 11. We are going to be back next week for Round 12, and I believe it's going to be in Monza. So some high-speed action over the next couple of weeks. Japan after that, and I do believe it's Portugal the round after that. So exciting couple of races. We're coming to the end of the season. Lorenzo from Emilio's, from Sprunky, your top three. CJ Butch, Bumblebee, Boris, and Richie. After that, Vexter P8, Craigo P9, Doomsday P10. These guys are classified despite the DNF. After that, we got a couple of DNFs. Azen, Synchros, Bucker, and Always Rick. Always Rick getting disqualified there. Synchros as well. Synchros for blocking the pit lane. Always Rick because he didn't serve his drive-through. Well, that's that. I'm ISRL Knight. Thank you all for watching the Division 3 race. I'm going to hop off now, go enjoy myself a Brazilian Grand Prix that hopefully will be one to remember. And I will see you guys all very soon when I hit the track for Division 2. Spot me in that lobby shortly. All right, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your days and have a great weekend.